This is a classic from a Rav Zilberstein.
Exactly.
So there was at the time when Israel had the operation of cast iron. There was a Yid in the south.
Cast lead?
Cast lead, sorry. So Yid was in the south, he was driving, and all of a sudden the sirens went off. And this Yid was involved in Kiruv, and all of us, there was the sirens went off, and people got frightened. There was a dog, and they got frightened, and accidentally he ran over the dog. He killed the dog. And the owners came running, and they were really upset. It was a frum Yid, and he felt very bad. And he pulled over, and he went out, and he said, "I'm sorry, the sirens went off. I couldn't stop my car quick enough, and I feel very bad about your dog." And he offered to pay for the dog. Well, they were not religious, and they were really impressed that they think that this Haredi guy is straight, and he's a straight guy, and he's very nice, and he feels bad for their dog, but he explained himself, he wants to pay. So they said, "No, never mind the pay." And they got into a conversation and became very good friends. The kids said they invited him to their house. He gave a shir in their house, and they liked it, and they had him once a month. He was coming to their house in the south of Israel, giving a shir. So one day they told him they decided they're making the basement of their house like a medrasha. And they're going to have it for the people in the town. They're going to bring lectures. They're making a plaque for the medrasha, and they want to call it Beis Igor. So he says, "Who is Igor?" He says, "Igor? You don't know who's Igor? Igor's the one that got us involved in Judaism to begin with. This is the dog." And we were just wondering how we should write it. Should we write it that he died in the accident, or did he die in war because it was the sirens? Yeah, exactly. Akidish Ador. So how should we write it? So he said, "Let me think about it."
My neighbor says,
So he asked the Shaila, does it make sense? Is it Kovet Shemayim that a Beis Medrash or a Beis Knesses should be called? I mean, usually a shul is called with a Yiddish name. Yeah. So so that's this week's Parsha. So look here in the first Shaila. The Gemara says like this in Yuma Daf Tes Amud Aleph. Omar Rabbi Yochanan ben Torta. Rabbi Yochanan ben Torta said, about Churban Shiloi. It's a strange name. Yochanan ben Torta. Torta means a Torah, a shoyer. So the Tosas Yeshanim over there says to look in the Medrash Psikta Rabba. It says, Ma'isa Hoya B'Yisrael. There was once a Jew. Long story. A Jew that was Yerid min Marsov, and he had no choice. He sold his cow. So the guy bought the cow, and the guy's happy. Came Shabbos, and the cow refuses to work. So the guy goes to the Jew and says, "Look, this was a fraud. This cow is a stubborn cow. It doesn't work." So the Yid came, and he whispered into the ear of the cow and said that you should know that it's Shabbos, and now that that I sold you to the guy, you're allowed to work on Shabbos. So the guy said, "What are you doing? You're doing chshafim to me?" So he said, "No." He said, "Look, this is not chshafim. I whispered in her ear, and I said that she doesn't have to keep Shabbos because Laman Yanuach, that she doesn't have to keep Shabbos." So the guy, the Psikta says, the guy said, "Ma in Parsha in la loisicha v'loy dasi kides boida ani sheye yitzrani yitzri betmus betzalma gnos midas eini hoilach ma kides boidi ma yad bov in this guy." Look inside here. Yad bov in this guy v'lomad v'limad v'zochel l'toyra v'koyrim shmo yerchim l'mentorta v'adachshav rebeseinu emr malachim b'shmoy.
How did he know all that stuff?
Huh?
How did he know that he's like telling the king? How did he know all this stuff?
He knew. I guess he knew. He knew a little bit.
He lived with the Jews, so he knows.
He knew something he did know. Yes, yeah. Right? Yeah. See, he knew. He knew that he was a Tzelem Elokim, and he knew that the Jews.
Next to the shul or something.
He was the janitor.
So became a Talmud Chochem. He became Rabbi Yochanan ben Torta. And in other words, that's why he was called Ben Torta. And the Psikta says, "V'im tmiat shall yedei pora niskarev adam echad lekamfei hashchina." And you're going to say that a pora was makarev someone to the Eibishter? So the answer is, "Harei al yedei pora he torosu shall call Yisrael." But the pora duma. Anyway, so that's. So in other words, the shvach of the pora, the Psikta is saying. Anyway, bottom line is, it's still a kosher animal. A dog is not a kosher animal, and he said there were Gedolei Yisrael that didn't want to even call it. That the Chaznish was once a dog around there in Bnei Brak hanging around. So he said, get rid of the Chof Lamed Beis. He didn't want to say a kelef. So they said to him, what's a gefelach? He can't call it a kelef. So he said, look in the Tesefta B'chodesh Perek Aleph. It says, B'chol behema ein lecha shechai b'b'choyd ala chamor b'chol chai ein lecha shasura mishum echir kelev ala kelev. In other words, a kelev is the lowest of the low. And the Medrash say the gimel chatzufim. There's 3 chutzpahdik ones. And all the animals, the most chutzpahdik is the dog, and then the birds, the most chutzpahdik is the tarnacle, the rooster, and among the nations, the most chutzpahdik is the Jews.
I thought dog was a very dedicated animal.
A dog is a very dedicated
Man's best friend. They say he's man's best friend.
L'chayr is man's best friend. So
that's only if he knows the man.
It's
only for one man, but most of the other men, he's chutzpah.
Depends for which man. The Medrash says.
dog.
It depends. Like Zora's dog. It depends. Like the Medrash says a story that the dog was very smart. And he saw it's a smart dog. And he saw that the baker was sitting there. So the dog made believe he was sleeping. And then when the baker fell asleep, he turned over the whole thing and took one loaf and ran away. Why did he turn over the whole thing? So they make a big bilbil, and this way he was able to run off with a loaf of bread. So the Medrash says that Roimi is like a kelev. So we see, but the bottom line we see that a kelev is sort of is a chutzpahdik and shrewd, but l'chayda he's chutzpahdik to someone else, but he's very loyal to his master. He's very loyal to his master, and like someone just mentioned, the Mashah says that a kelev is kulei leiv. Kulei leiv is all heart. So kulei leiv, he's very dedicated to his master. And look here, I have here a beautiful Yerushalmi. Let's look at the next paragraph. Yerushalmi Turma Perek Ches Halacha Gimel. It says, "But it says Hashem Darki Ish Gamay B'Yashku Mite." Rabbi Yom is a kelev. That the dog could be his enemy, but can be his biggest friend. Yeshua and Rabbi Yom is a Nachash. Raya Chalban Chalav. There were shepherds that they had milk. They had milked the cows or the goats. And there was a snake that came and drank from that milk. So now the milk was poisoned. There was a dog that watched the whole thing. They were not unaware, the shepherds, that now that this milk is dangerous. When they wanted to eat from the milk, they wanted to drink the milk. Mishri novach baroin. So he started to bark. And they didn't pay attention. He was barking and barking and barking because he didn't want because he was. This dog was from the shepherd's dog. He didn't want the shepherds to die. He was barking and they didn't listen to him. So to prove his point, he drank the milk and he died. So they realized not to drink. So we see that a dog can be dedicated to his master to death.
Save lives.
Right?
In Israel, they save lives.
Right?
They go into the minefield and they smell out the mines.
Right?
It was just not
and also the terrorists, they smell terrorists.
Right. Now they do it in the
I
airports.
read online, it's not nice, in California, there was a fire, the whole town got burned.
Yeah.
So the guy who stood next to the house where waiting for 20 days for the owner to come back.
Wow.
Wow.
How long?
Did he come back?
I don't know.
Still waiting? Second story, the Yerushalmi said.
In the IDF, they have a special unit,
Right.
those unit,
Cayman.
training. They are at the top of the top of the line.
Good. So the second story in the Yisham is like this. There was one man that invited a Choshev Talmid Chacham to his house, and when he sat him down at the table, he poured a dog right next to him on the next chair. So the Talmid Chacham said, "Bezoyin ano chayev loch." Yeah, I'm chayev to get a bezoyin like this. Amar loi, no, Rebbe tivu ano mishalom loi. I'm giving back a favor to my dog. Why? He said, I'm trying to give honor to my dog. I'm not trying to give dishonor to you. Shebayin oval lekarte. In those days, there were people, there were Shavian. They used to come to the city. They used to capture people. Rahman al-Islam. They used to capture the women. All chadmen hoin. Bo min savitasar. One of them wanted to take my wife, and he was powerless against this man. He wanted to take his wife. He was armed, and he wanted to take his wife. So what did the dog do? So the dog attacked him for ochel beitzav.
Wow. Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Must have been a dog invitation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or a pit bull.
Yeah.
You didn't make omelet?
I'm
I
sorry.
don't know.
It was a smart dog.
It's a smart dog. Exactly. So you see, the Yerushalmi says that that the dog could be a good friend of the human being. So this person saw the Rabbanon that now I want to honor the dog for what he did. So B'meila, I invited you to make a kasuda seidor. So B'meila, I sat you at the head of the table right next to
The
you.
honor, the guest of honor.
So what's the comes from Kabbal?
Yeah.
This is a case of dog eating dog, because the ace of the dogs, the dog ate the dog.
Kalab and Kalba.
Dog eat dog world. This is a dog
Okay,
eat
so
dog
it's a
world.
dog, exactly.
That's
In all the Medrashim,
So those Aesop used to take other people's wives,
right,
as I'll say.
right.
You had the dog, not eaten by the dog.
So you see that the thing is like this.
Right.
Right, because you could use it, but also you could use it for kedusha. A dog is negative and positive. It depends. It's kulei lev. It's a hora is called a dog. Why? Because it's kulei lev. But you can also use it for kedusha. You can make that the dog should be your friend. In other words, you could use the dog, the Yetzirah, to turn him into a tool for kedusha if you train him well.
passion.
But he can only be your tool, not your friend's tool. That's the only chazar. He's a day. You have to keep him in his cage.
So there's so
When
many
you
blind.
see them, the IDF, that all the dogs have huge muzzles on their faces.
Yeah.
So
They want
many
them to
blind
just
people.
concentrate on one thing, because dogs get
Trust,
distracted.
Right.
That,
Because they get distracted. That's for sure.
yeah.
So look at the Gemara next paragraph in the Hodius. Sholo tell me the Why is it that a dog knows his master and a cat doesn't? If anyone here owns a cat, you might argue. The Gemara says that the dog knows his master, the cat doesn't.
They have very small brains.
Cat only knows where it lives.
They have small brains,
And the
They
cats,
only know where they live.
and that's it.
they're very independent.
Dogs are higher on the intelligence level, almost the highest. Cats are lower.
Uh-huh.
Cats are shemechas, no? But cats have do sleep.
Yeah, but still the Gemara
It's
says
Bat man and cat woman.
She always loses at the end.
I don't get that.
They don't provide anything.
Omar Belozim, Ma Kelev, Makiris Koine, Bechoslein, Makiris Koine, Ma Oichel, Masha, Akbar Oichel, Mishakeach, Oichel, Akbar Atzme, El Kachs Kama. He said, look what he eats. He eats the Akbar. So if you would eat Akbar, you'd also forget everything. So that's why the Chosel. Like that, Marsha writes that Kelev is Kulei Lev. And I was thinking, that we once did this, that Rebbe had this whole thing about bringing a dog into shul, that Rebbe holds its mutter, and that Rebbe bring the Maraya from the Gemara in Yom Daf Chafalav, that it says in the first Beis HaMikdash, the fire of the Beis HaMikdash that came down from heaven was a miracle, and it was a Revutza Ka'ari, it looked like an image of a lion, and the second Beis HaMikdash was an image of a dog. So I was thinking, it was based on Chassidus, that not that the second Beis HaMikdash it was bad. It was different. In the first Beis HaMikdash, all the Rabbanim Chassidus say, Arya is Oises Re'iyah. They saw the Eibishter. There was more Gilei Lukus in the first Beis HaMikdash. So they served the Eibishter with cup. The lion has a big head, it was very powerful. As Kanemek, a Gibber Kari. In the second Beis HaMikdash, they also served the Eibishter, and they were dedicated to the Eibishter. But not in the level of Arya, which is Oises Re'iyah, but in the level of Leiv, Kulei Leiv. was the lower level in Avodas Hashem. Therefore, but not Chas v'Shalom why would there be a miracle? The Eibush to make a miracle and then but it's something negative. No, it's not negative. There's certain milas in the Kelev. He's devoted to his master, and he's kulei leiv. If you train your Yetzer Hara is a dog, and if you train him right, he could be a shamash godel fakert. That's the whole mila, that he should be able to bring the dog, that he should become a fire on the mizbech.
There's so many blind people
are using
the dog. It's unbelievable.
Now, I witnessed, I want to tell something that I witnessed. There was a time that they never had in the backyard in President's
Right,
a dog, a German Shepherd. And Bochum used to watch in the house next door. So once on Shabbos, I was watching there with a few other Bochum, and we saw that Heinrich would go out Shabbos morning and put on food to the dog.
Wow.
I saw how she did it, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a big German Shepherd. She took off food.
They have to feed him.
Yeah, I saw
And it's by them have to
I saw
feed
that
him.
everything there.
wasn't a random dog that came
out.
out.
That's not right to tell you. I thought
But he was purchased for the other,
Yeah.
or just came astray and they thought, well, she can't bring her back here. Wow. I have a reason to cheat.
Listen, there would be no farms in America if there would be dogs.
Right, where did I from buy it? Right, that's true about the short years. Someone had a time against them. I should have wrote it to the Rebbe. The Rebbe said, no, but she's right. That's the
Go to dog.
Hagav Urcha, just stam a shaila that the Gemara, are you allowed to mourn for a dog that dies?
Mourn?
Yeah, so the Gemara says that when a person, his slave dies, he's not allowed to mourn. If you're allowed to,
You can't feel sad.
you can feel sad. Ninus is believe, because I mean also Hirubi Bezdin says you're not allowed to mourn, but you're allowed to feel sad. Ninus is believe, but and also you can comfort him, but you can't say the regular comforting. You say Hashem Yamalach Esroincha. So kol shkem, and the same thing it says lagabe a person's behemoth. You say if a person loses his cow, you say Hashem Yamalach Esroincha. However, you could make l'chayre the bracha of Baruch Dayan Emes. Why? Because every time you have a big loss, and the Mishnah Hefsed Meruba, and the Alter Rebbe says any which is, and the Mishnah Berurah brings it mefedish nisrif unachos and meiz behemto. You could say the bracha Baruch Dayan Emes. However, I would say very important. It depends why the person is saying Dayan Emes. The Alter Rebbe says it has to be a loss that most people would be upset about. If it's in other words, so it depends. If your loss of the dog, it's a cute little puppy, it's worth $25. You can even get it for free in the shelter. Then you're not allowed to say Baruch Dayan Emes. Then it's an emotional thing. It's you making Dayan Emes as if he's a human being. Chas v'shalom that you could do that. Yeah. But if it's a dog that protects you, like this man who this guy defended his wife. Or a person who lives somewhere and it's a makom sakona, and he feels safe because of his dogs. So then this is a big chisaron. He's shomer on his nechosim, he's shomer on his goof. If you had, so that is a huge loss. That's not stam a loss. I have a sister, brother-in-law lived there. They just moved, but they lived for many years in a place, a secular thing out in Yehuda and Shomer, not far from Yerushalayim. And when you live there, they get used to it's like the cheaper. It's crazy. It's like so difficult in Israel. Like how do you end up in Israel with a small fortune? You go there with a big fortune. So it's like just to get cheaper gas, they go to the Arab village right nearby.
Really?
And the interesting thing is they say half the guys that speak English. He said a lot of guys are American citizens.
Wow. Arabs?
Arabs.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what if another dog...
Most of them would love for the Jews to be able to do business with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem
areas
is
that don't want
exactly. Some of them would love to do business with the Jews. So it would be
What
good
if the
for
problem
them.
is you can't tell them apart.
You can't tell them apart. But he says in his place, they all let their dogs loose by night at the town called Rimonim. Because Arabs.
Yeah,
He says the Arabs are very brave. They're very brave, but they're very scared of dogs. Ooh, they'll blow themselves up in a bus. But they're very scared of a poodle. Yeah.
Of a what?
They're scared of dogs. So Mamela, in his town, he said to Baruch Hashem, they never ever had any incident in the town. Obviously it's gated.
They know about these dogs. They know they have night shots.
But they have the level. That for sure is a good thing.
The night force of their life.
No, they're dogs.
Yeah. No, Baruch Hashem, they never had any. But they all let their dogs loose at night.
It's amazing that they patrol.
It's amazing.
The dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know the job. Like
They know their job.
Even though
So Mamela, if a person has a dog who's not stam, he's making dynamis because it's a loss of a good friend, but it's a loss, a serious loss of a thing. So then, versteht sich, a person can make the bracha dynamis b'shem malchus.
Would that be even if he could replace the dog for the same amount of money?
Yeah.
You know, let's say it's easy for him to get another dog
What's the difference? If a person,
because he's not really.
if a person has a
he's
car,
not upset.
if a person has an
It depends-
expensive good
depends
car,
on the
no, if he's not
percentage.
upset, then not. No.
Yeah.
But if a person has a good car, and then and something happened, it was
He
an
has
accident.
insurance, but he has insurance, so he can replace it. So I'm saying he's not so
That's a good
upset.
question.
If he has insurance and he's not upset, there is no dynamis. But if he does not have insurance,
Right,
but he can afford to buy a new one,
Right.
he still make dynamis, agmas nefesh.
Take time to train the dog.
What if it's an emotional loss? No?
No,
Yeah,
not
loss
for
of the car,
emotional
you would
loss.
say both dynamics loss of your car.
If you really love the car, it's not about the
person,
look.
You
yeah,
don't love this. No one loves his
loves
car.
his
not
car.
about the
You can make dynamis on the dog the same as if it was your car. Would you make dynamis? The same thing on the
Okay,
dog.
what if it was
So
an
what are the
historic
what are the real parameters?
The Alter Rebbe says it has to be that Roiv Adam would have tsar from it.
Okay, so well,
I think Roiv
but when a dog dies, it's more because they lost a friend.
Rolls
I'm
Royce.
saying,
That's
if
licking
it's-
him up.
Shelby.
right.
No
Yeah.
one loves a person like the dog. He licks him, he kisses
So
him.
just for the
All
licks,
dog
you
wants
can't
to
make
do.
dynamis for the licks.
Yeah.
But for the protection the dog gives you,
Oh,
if he's a
so
dog
rather-
that protects you,
Yeah.
and now you lost, and now you're gonna have to go buy a new one, you train him, you spend money and time, and it's a whole new thing. Then you can make dynamis. Kilo was your car that was parked and a tree fell on it, and say you didn't have insurance, you would have agmas nefesh from it.
Very interesting.
Let me
Very
ask you a
interesting
question.
because in these shtachim, they don't know for sure that the dog is that what's protecting. They know really it's the mezuzah. It's the Eibush, exactly. So the dog's running around, so it's an extra. It's like an insurance policy. So if the guy was living alone up somewhere and had no insurance policy, and the dog is his last line of defense, so I can see it. But in shtachim, where they have people guarding and other things like that, it's a peripheral insurance.
But still, if the person says it's an agmas nefesh to them,
Yeah.
but it can't be an agmas nefesh because it's licking their feet, because that's replacing
A friend.
right.
But maybe that's what. Maybe
That's
that's,
not-
more Agus Nevish.
Some
I know,
people
but then
sleep
it's not
with
really
it.
gehalten al pitoida. Al
Right.
pitoida, you can make dynamis for another human being, or for a loss of money that is a tsar for most people. Most people, I think, would say if they trained the dog to protect them, and the dog died, or so much blind people that have a dog,
Sure.
and then the dog dies, it's a huge agmas nefesh for them.
Yeah.
Definitely, they can make the bracha dynamis. Not they could, they should.
Yeah.
They're chayiv to make the bracha.
Could you make it for a dog a bark mitzvah?
What if you have pet life insurance?
Then maybe not, sure. Maybe not. So you have to retrain it. I don't know. It's a good question.
I once got, it's a shame, somebody once sent us a bark mitzvah.
A bark mitzvah?
A bark mitzvah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the invitation is in chocolate bark.
Second Shiloh for today. There's a rash going on today.
It's still going on.
It's unbelievable. It's like growing.
There's already 250 comments on the
That's 250 comments on this. Unbelievable. So there's a younger man, vigilante, we'll call him, and he decided that he has to do something. He has a feeling that there's a lot of mezuzah being sold by the Judaica stores. Wow, that are phony baloney. They're not kosher. That they're not kosher. But so listen, what he did. He went to and he ordered from every vendor in Crown Heights.
He spent like $7,000 or something.
And he says he spent $7,000. He ordered 10 mezuzahs from each vendor. 10 mezuzahs. He does a whole production. You have to watch his production. Some people here already watched it. And they'll tell you where you can watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's very childish. Very, very childish.
So much.
Also, it's hard to understand who's the crowd. If you're trying to talk, he starts off, mezuzahs need to be kosher, like meat needs to be kosher. Who are you talking to? If you're talking to me and you, so just get to the thing. If you're talking to a person that's not a Shem Torah mitzvahs, you're just being Mechal Hashem. They're all the religious Jews. Who are you trying to present this? He probably meant l'shem shemayim, but I'm just if you watch it, you think the guy's off the wall. You think he's
Someone said that he asked the Rav first. Someone
Huh?
said it, but I didn't hear any proof. Someone said he asked the
Someone
Rav
has to
first.
say yes.
And there's been a lot of responses.
Right.
Moshe Klein, all these people.
Oh, this thing is. So the kid said he ordered. He has now. Yes, he has a dentoida now. Wow, Hasmona from Vadrabon Lubavitch.
Love it.
So now, this is the story.
He has a rishus from Rabbi Bronze. He's going to say, that's my Bezdin.
I don't know.
You don't have to go.
That he didn't say yet.
Also
That
funny
he
about
didn't
that.
say yet. I didn't see that he said that.
I'm sure he's, but I'm saying, if he's right,
It's a rumor.
if he's right that he got Rabbi Bronze Haskama,
I'll tell you that.
he'll say, you're going to come to my Bezdin.
Right. Yeah. So the kid said he ordered from every Judaic store 10 mezuzahs. You'll watch it, you'll see. Then he
Mefsoy
said,
mezuzahs, though, the
Mefsoy,
Mefsoy
cheap
mezuzahs.
mezuzahs.
Everyone knows that these are the least,
The problematic mezuzahs.
Right.
Who said problematic? It just says the least
the least
expensive.
mechuda, least mechuda. They least mechuda.
Least more of the mezuzahs. He said he wants the Mefsoy mezuzahs. Okay. So he bought the mezuzahs, about $35 a piece. And then he said he put them in Ziploc bags, 10 bags,
2 witnesses.
with 2 witnesses, this, and he put numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it was 8 mezuzahs. 8, 10 mezuzahs in each. And he brought it to a sofer with 2 witnesses. The sofer doesn't know which shop. He just knows it's bag number 1, number 2, number 3. And then he went and he published online the results. So basically, more than majority of the mezuzahs are puzzle, according to the sofer. Puzzle. And they show you, right? He claims it's puzzle that I said. Now the vendors that are selling it said that it's not true. It's not puzzle that I said. It's a machloikis. It's really not a negia.
It was Mavayish the vendors.
Right. That's what they claim, and they claim they have a loss of money, and therefore they take it for the Torah for besmirching them.
What about Boishas? Is that one of the tiniest Boishas?
No, they had Nezek moment. That's what they read. It's in the Tain in the Hazmona, and there's a lawyer. What's it called? Told me that he thinks that it's a very strong time.
Yeah.
Friday
Should have
night,
confronted them first and say, what do you have to say for yourselves?
Right.
And you just go public and you find this. Give a person a chance to defend himself.
Supposedly he's been dealing with this for a while.
He claims that he spoke to them many times.
them.
And left them off. Yeah, that's what he
This
says.
guy like a real job.
Okay. So
Rabbi in Israel,
yeah.
Rabbi Abir Yaakov, the Rabbi
Yeah.
I brought here in Mekubal, we went to a sofer,
Yeah.
I don't know how and where, and he told them you cannot sell any more mezuzot because the sofer hired Arab to write the mezuzot, and they sold it.
Well, it's fun.
He was crying, but it's known all over. Put it in newspaper.
So did you say the Arab's donkey wrote it?
Arab guy, sofer. He's not sofer. He would know how to write Hebrew. So he told him, here's $10. Write 20 mezuzot, and he sold it.
Wow.
Unbelievable. It was about 15 years ago. It was a big tomb in Israel.
Wow.
So look at the Shulchan Aruch.
That's probably the guy that's selling the Dead Sea Scrolls they found to be fake. Some of the Dead Sea Scrolls
Yeah.
are forgeries. Maybe it's this guy.
Yeah.
Is the guy writing this? You go into a store.
So this is my shadow. This is what I want to talk about. Anyway, the funny thing is, this is my mission. Nothing changes from the times of the Gemara to today. Like in the Lord Mizah Beidais, everything. Look in the Gemara in Yomit. The Gemara says as a chiv to check the mezuzahs. So that Gemara says that mezuzahs ayochid you have to check twice in 7 years. Or the mezuzah of the public you have to check only twice in 50 years.
Go to Baba trip twice a week.
So the Gemara says Ma'aseh ba'arta v'nechad
In public, how long?
twice in 50 years. Public
Maybe
mezuzahs.
25 years?
Yeah, every 25 years.
Rabbi, what line are we on here?
Her base. V'lokchu min adam v'nos nach shtei mezuzahs. So I didn't get yet to the inside. I'm just saying Balpeh. So the Gemara says that there was a story that there was a Yid that was checking the mezuzahs in Tzipoidi, and the government, and there was a shoiter, a soldier, an inspector, a policeman who saw it. He said, "What are you doing?" He didn't believe that he's checking mezuzahs. He says, "You're doing witchcraft." And he gave him a fine, and he had to pay 1,000 zuz. The Gemara asks, "I shluchim mitzvahs ein in the zoikim." The Gemara says, over there was shkiach hazeker. That hezek is a very, the
This
government-
on this.
yeah. So it's funny Nothing changed. Here's a guy who's trying to do for the rabbin, check the mezuzahs. Doesn't mean that he's going to be protected. Even if his
He didn't check his mezuzahs. He had a plan.
right.
He did it as like a...
So I'm not. Even if he's doing it l'shem shemayim, he's not safe. Okay. So now let's go into the sugya a little bit. Try to touch it from one angle at least. Pasuk b'Shulchan Aruch. You see Shiloh base here.
No, he has a
We're talking about the mezuzahs, the story, the mezuzahs scandal. So look in base, v'lokchum en adam v'nosar shte mezuzahs, the Shiloh, Lacharoina, there is this question about this younger man that bought the mezuzahs, and this whole question. Okay, tshuva. Pasuk b'Shulchan Aruch, Yeridei Mishin Gimel Tzif Aleph, Haroya Kilayim al Chaveire, Shel Toira al Chaveire. Person's walking the street, and he sees his friend is wearing kilayim. I feel a hoya ma'alach b'shuk. Hoya koifetz loy v'koyre me'alav miyad afilo Rabbi. That you go over, you jump onto him, and you rip this clothing off him.
That's what it said.
It's nothing for us.
You rip his clothing off him. You rip it off. V'yei shemin dimay loy v'shoygig ein tzarech lies b'shuk mishum the cover that Brias Yishtek Val Yifrishana Meshagu. There is an opinion that doesn't mashma that way in the Rambam. The Rambam says he's chayiv to rip it off. If it was a kilayim that's not menatoida, doesn't rip it off. Even if a
How
person
about
knows.
the you go easy.
Huh?
Is this assuming that the person is a frum person that he would be very happy that somebody stops him?
No.
Or it means
No, look in the
somebody
Gemara.
that is not
Look in the
frum,
Gemara.
that could sue you and could
Look in the
make you
Gemara.
take it to the police.
Good question. Look in the Gemara. Look in the Gemara. Beis Yosef costed the Mokkins and the Gemara. The Beis Yosef says, how did the Rambam know this Gemara? This is, I'm bringing for Shekhinah. The Rambam says it even more strong. He says, chayev to rip it off him. Well, how does the Rambam know this? Because the Gemara says a story. A person that finds kalayim in his bag and he's supposed to take over the bag in mishuk. My timer. In chochma vein tvuna vein eitzel neged Hashem kol mokim she'eshchilu Hashem ein chilukim kavod l'rav.
That's if the guy refuses to take it off himself.
This is the person himself. But then the Gemara has a whole arichas, and then the Gemara tells a story. There's a story of Rabbi Barava. Chazala he kutis. He saw a shiksa. He didn't know she's a shiksa. She thought she was a Jewish girl. The hava lavisha karbalos of a shukka. She was wearing a karbalos.
Red pagan or something.
Oh. So Rashi says that it was a levush choshu. The Aruch says it was a levush odav. Provocative, not tznius. She was wearing something not tznius according to the Aruch.
Yeah.
Sava the Bas Yisrael, he thought she's a Jewish girl. She's wearing not tznius? Chutzpah! Come call him minay. He ripped her begadim off her.
Nine pogim.
Oh,
Made it worse.
so the woman.
Made it worse.
Huh?
It made it worse.
Made it worse.
Exactly.
Oh, but she'll learn her lesson.
Okay.
Everyone would.
It's a good thing he doesn't live in.
Yeah, well,
It's a good thing he doesn't live.
Were the photographers there?
You know that
Was
my
the
daughter was
media
in a
there?
Lubavitcher seminary, and they were all dressed, like Lubavitcher girls, maybe the skirts were different than the Meir Shor. They started getting rocks thrown at them.
What?
Yeah.
Sure, imagine.
My mother also got.
I'm not talking about Karmel or Shor, we're talking about a little more modern than Meir Shor. And that was, they're throwing
My
rocks.
mother also made a show got thrown rocks.
Could you imagine such a thing?
She moved to Israel.
Yeah?
You don't have to walk to make sure we walk.
First she got thrown
Keep your
rocks in
shadows.
Meishor, and then told me she got Sati.
Okay,
Meishor
well,
she was told Chiloni. And tell me she was told she's a
They should be thrown out.
Both
People
places.
that live there, anyone that throws rocks should get thrown out.
Of course.
No, they don't care if you walk on the asphalt.
It doesn't matter.
Who gave them a shush to
No,
throw
on their
rocks?
It's not
street.
their street.
There-
That's the thing. It's not their
It's a
street.
Russia.
It's not their street. They're in the way. They're in the way.
So here's the Gemara. This is the Gemara. This is where it all comes down to. So Gloria Miltze, the Kusis, it turned out she was a shiksa. She took him to court, and she pressed charges against him. Shaimua ba'arba mezuzi. They made him pay a fine, 400 zuz. Omar la, he said to the shiksa, Ma shemecha, what's your name? Omar la Motun. Her name is Motun. Omar la, he said, Motun, arba mezuzi shavya. You're worth 400 zuz. So the Meforshim either meant Motun means 200. So he said that's my mazel that was goyim, that your name is Motun. Motun,
Double the 400.
It's 400. So I'm paying kefil. Others say no. He said motun.
It's worth
In other words, he said it was worth it. It was worth it. But according to other Pshat Nashi, he said if I had a little more patience and I paid attention if she was Jew or she was a goy, I would have saved myself 400. But either way, he didn't have charota.
Right, why should have charota? One second. The only reason he couldn't do it because there was din in the Malchus at the time. The Yidden weren't living they were probably under the Romans, so he had no choice.
Babylonians,
Whoever was there, right? Exactly. But if it would have been, it wouldn't have mattered if it was a goiter or a Yiddish maidel. She's being machshel the Rabbi, so he didn't have a right to get rid of her.
Right?
No.
This mashma that he didn't have charota.
Right, because she's.
The Gemara says it as a positive thing.
Right.
So the Beis Yosef learns that according to the Rambam, she was wearing kilayim, not tznius. She was wearing kilayim, and this is a rayat that you're chayiv. If you see someone wearing kilayim in the shuk, you're chayiv to go and rip it off him.
What if it causes a worse situation?
What if somebody didn't think like the Rambam about kilayim? That means that there is no raya and the whole.
No, according to others, shine no raya, right?
How does he know? How does he know?
How can you see
How can he see from the naked eye that it's shot?
How does that's I don't know. That's strange.
He was a guy that did.
He worked in the shopping lavatory.
What if it causes a feeling?
If he was so holy, then if he has such hergish, he should have also known she was a
In those
goiter.
days, they didn't have too many materials. Either was this or that, and the
Right.
coloring makes a difference on how the dyes, how it goes with the clothes. You were able to tell.
He
Yeah,
worked
they
in the
could
shopping lavatory.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, but still, why? If it's shot, why did they bring a case where shot? The Gemara's trying to teach us that what?
That it's according to the Rambam, the way the Beis Yosef learns it, that not only the person himself will wear shatnez, if he realizes in the middle of the street he has to take his clothing straight off, even though it's a bizayin, he should walk naked. Even if you see someone else wearing kilayim,
But we,
you're mechuyev to rip it off.
but we know you're not allowed to be mevayish someone. You're supposed to give them your life.
So that's
So
why.
why is there head to head to be mevayish someone? The worst, be it bizayin.
Right, the word bizayin, because it's a isur shel Torah. If it was isur derabonon, that's why they say. The Rishonim will say, because if it would be an isur derabonon, then we would say God will cover the bria shedoich loitas shebatoira. Which loitas say called loisosam anadav shegidol cho yiminu smoil. That whatever Chacham say, you have to listen to them. But if it's going to be a bizoyin to someone else, you're not allowed to.
But what's the
give
mitzvah?
a to another person?
But what's the mitzvah of the Torah for someone to save someone else? What's his mitzvah?
Is my mitzvah?
Yeah. Is that one of the Tayyid mitzvahs?
Yeah, sure.
But it also says los v'yalav chet.
Right. So this is the parameters. I'm not.
Are you allowed to ruin the person's bag? No. Let's say the person's bag is worth $500 and you rip it. Now it's worth $200. You'll let it use mom and as
Oh, so this is the achronim. The mamash achronim asked this
Can I
question.
ask one more question?
Yeah.
why-
That's what they ask.
If the person's wearing his own bag of shot, as he said,
He takes it off.
I know,
If his friend is wearing.
Sheish Chlashem Eichot can call the Rav. That means covering to your covered abrius.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there's Eichot no Rav means you don't think about anything because your covered has no,
Right.
it's not in the cheshbon.
Right.
You might be embarrassed, doesn't matter.
Right.
Take it off right away.
Right.
That's what we're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. Even though your talmidim are standing there, it's embarrassing. You should do it.
Doesn't matter.
Klein is one of the only mitzvahs that's not cover that bris. I mean, if you know you work Klein, find out you work Klein, take it off right away, even in the street.
Right.
Somebody mail somebody else also.
So, right, that's what the Rambam holds. That not only yourself, but also someone else. He's
Right.
asking about the chiyuv of mammon. So the Rambam doesn't go into that. The Achronim talk about this. So there's a Choshev in Yerushalayim. He wrote Pischei Choshen. It's like 11 volumes of different. He wrote also on Ibis. All his svarim are very, very strong svarim. So he thinks in the beginning of Sefer Nezikin, he says the Rambam never said he's parted to pay. I always said parted to pay. You have to pay for it. You made a damage to the other person. Are you chuyiv to rip it off? You have to pay.
Can't use it. It's not worth value.
I hear you, Shaila. I hear you, Shaila.
What's the Shiloh?
He says it's also ba'anoah.
Shul Klein, you say.
Yeah, but Kenem is also
but they can take it out.
Akalai begodim is also
Or they can
ba'anoah.
use it for something else.
Yeah, he could
Shave.
exactly. He can't sell it to a goy. He sell it to Yid. He could use it for
Or
something.
window shade.
Yeah, whatever it's
Or to
worth.
cover his animal. You're allowed to cover your animal Shabbos?
Not if a person might later. You're allowed to.
You make a dog coat. People have dog coats. They knit for the dog's coats.
Right. But not the din is you're not allowed to make a mardas even though because a person might end up using it. But you can do something with it. But l'chol is if it was that he ripped off her non-tznius clothing, like Rashi says and the Aruch says, then he would have to pay the full price. He'd have to pay the full price. Okay, so you think she's not sneeze, you rip it, okay, fine. Rip it off, big tzaddik, but you have to pay the full price. But other Chachamim say, and it doesn't make sense. They bring a beautiful svara. The Ramah says that you're chayiv to be machiach another friend, but you don't have to spend money on it. You're supposed to talk to someone nicely. Say, look, this is the wrong thing to do. But if you have to spend money, the person is out of town now. You have to make a long distance call. And I'm have to make a long distance call. That's what the Ramah paskins. So over here, how could the Rambam say you're chayiv to go rip it off, and then you're going to go? That person's going to take you to Bezdin, and you're going to have to pay. How could the Rambam say it's chayiv?
But don't we say to for a lois, let's say there's a certain amount that you have to spend.
For mitzvah say till a fifth of your nechasim,
Right.
let's say every penny you have.
Yeah, so here you go.
So
This is not a loss. Oh, no, this is an asay of ochech techiyah.
right.
So
that's
1/5. The chayyim person has more money than a little.
But that's your own thing. Your mezuza, your lulav.
For someone else.
Machayach techich that Ramah holds you don't have to spend any money.
Why is it the difference between a lulav and a chacham? What is there a difference?
It's a good question because I guess it's different.
Chacham means words.
Yeah.
Right.
The Torah says machayach techich that you have to. That's what the Ramah holds. That
Right,
you're
so
mechuyev
why
to
did-
tell him. But you're not mechuyev to go make a long distance.
Don't be
call.
over it.
No, I'm saying we say by Mrs. Asay.
Yeah, but
sometimes they come to your hands.
The
Okay,
Torah,
okay,
doesn't say. The Torah says go buy a lulav. Everyone understands. The Torah says buy a lulav. You're going to spend money on it. So the Sheilos is how much money did the Torah mean you should spend? But the Ramah says when the Torah says echech techech, the Torah said say words.
A dairy lulav is more expensive than a lady's dress.
Right, but the Torah knows that when the Torah tells al kachta al chamim rishim, you're going to have to spend. So now we have to figure out what did the Torah mean, how much money you should spend. And Ramah says, but the Torah says you should rebuke a friend. Say words. Kibbutz Avim is the same thing. You're supposed to respend. You're not mechuyev to spend a nickel and a dime to Kibbutz Avim. I used to tell it to my mother. She used to get very upset at me. And when I used to go in yeshiva, I used to say, I'm not mechuyev to call. I said, I'm not mechuyev to call because it costs money. Only when I'm here. I'm not mechuyev to
Today you
call.
would say it differently.
Understand.
You don't know what to do. Yeah, you should have made collect call.
I collect, but she didn't know that. That's
No,
the
okay.
answer.
But she didn't collect. She didn't want to collect.
Rabbi Aryeh Levine was in a similar situation on an Eged on the way to Hadassah. A young lady, not dressed neistically, sat down across from him. And
I think next to him.
across from him,
Okay.
and he got off at the next stop. And the guy who told me the story was sitting right there and saw him. And he told me the story, and he said that he got off at Hadassah, this was years ago, and they're closed between like 12 and 2 or 12, 1 and 3, something like they were closed. The gates are locked. And he saw Reb Aryeh, the former Baruch, slowly, he was like maybe 90 years old, slowly coming up the hill on this hot August day. And he asked him, why did you get off the bus half a mile ago? Why don't you stay on the bus? And he said, halachically, I could not sit there, and if I moved, I would embarrass this girl who was maybe 70 years younger than him. But he did not want, so he didn't rip off her clothing. He got off the bus in order to avoid a hazard, a halachic hazard.
The bottom line is, if I just want to try to wrap it up, if it's true that they are roiv posel, he has the right to make if they're posel deiraisa, if they're really a negiah and they're posel deiraisa, if it's true, he has the right to publicize it. As funny as this guy seems, his production is a very funny production. But if they're machshel derabim, and it's a mitzvah in Torah to have mezuzas, versus machshel derabim, he has a full right to do it. Now, if they're going to prove that there's even a minority shittas that say that these mezuzas are kosher, that's a different story. But if it's not true, if it's true that they're posel, then he has something very strong in his side.
Some of them in the response said it.
One more quick shot. Some of them said that it's not, that some days are kosher. If that's true, they have a strong time.
But I want to say one thing. The people that are writing these crackerjack mezuzahs are crackerjacks themselves.
For sure. That's for sure. No shaila.
You know what I'm saying?
But they're not.
You see these mezuzahs and you see the guy didn't spend any time on them. He wrote them hapshlap,
you could
and
see
he's
that.
not a Yerushalayim for sure.
I see that. It's for sure not a good idea that these businesses.
How do I know? Because if someone Yerushalayim is not going to put together a crackerjack mezuzah, he doesn't.
That's true, but how do you
You
know?
fear God.
You buy mezuzah, you come, you see a
I'm
guy.
telling you,
with
look
a
at these
big-
mezuzahs and they're horrible. You see that they were
You see
written.
them.
They were
You see
written.
them. They're terrible.
The guy was writing it like just because he
They're
couldn't care
sloppy.
less in the
They're
bathtub.
sloppy.
He probably wrote it in the bathtub. He was in
Right.
the bathtub and he was writing a mezuzah.
It's an
at the
embarrassment.
It's
They're
embarrassing.
selling it.
It's the Gela Lakta.
Zek Kalev Aveil. The Torah says you have to be a Zek Kalev
The
Aveil.
silver lining for the whole thing is that the basement Menachem Mendel, I know myself, I'm always sending to one sofer in Crown Heights. He's the one that ended up Baruch Hashem with the total clean score. Now they're saying that he paid for the project.
That's what Ari got.
And he's a fourth cousin. Yeah, me too. And he's a fourth cousin.
Guy Lubavitch used to say.
I'm just letting you order the comment.
Yeah, I know that.
Connection.
One more question.
To Rascal.
No, they say that this sofer that came with the clean scorecard is a cousin to this vigilante.
He's a fourth cousin.
Everyone Lubavitch a cousin. Why would that
Besides,
cousin?
that could sometimes be a big psul for the
Yeah,
for that
but
guy.
enough for his cousin.
Also his father.
Family feud.
His
Family
father,
feud.
by the way,
Oh,
is
because
the
the
worst. Also, some people complain that his father also sold that.
Okay, one more quick shaila. There was someone in this shul that had the shaila. He used to come to the shir. Punkt today he's not here at the shir. He would chuckle if he heard the shaila. But the taka shaila, that before he became a Baal Tshuva, he had a what's it called, parlor?
Tattoo?
Tattoo. And versteht sich, hat sich schöne tattoos himself.
On his pay.
Yeah, his wife will not let him take off his jacket in the park or when they go out to eat in people's home.
Well,
But
if he has short sleeves.
when he comes this Sunday and when he puts on film on,
You can see it.
you can see.
Mhm.
So
Your eyes is Kaseder.
you can see, you can see it. You can see
Kaseder
it.
people have.
You can see it right, exactly. But this guy Taka has on his
Ali
arm,
Shuva, they.
and he has a woman that's
You got a close to it.
after the Barav
It's like from the less Edel tattoos.
yeah, from the less Edel tattoos, and he was so maybe he put it on.
She was
So-
wearing the red dress.
So the shaila is exactly. So the shaila is about putting on film. So I found beautiful. There's from the Minchas Yitzchak says, the kid said he says like this. He says the emes is he says that there's a Gemara, the Gemara in Tainus about Rochov, and that he says it's obvious that that such a
Kambalish
picture.
Chuvas. Rachav the Zayim.
Yeah,
Yoshua, yeah.
and the
She
Gemara
must have
says.
been wasn't so posh like.
It was pretty, probably.
There was no such thing as L'Shem Shemayim. Like
Yeah.
Palmer.
Maybe, yeah. But the bottom line is, he says that that a person not allowed to make a brocha, but he says you can't say that a person shouldn't put on film on the hand where he's mechuyev to put on. He's mechuyev to put on film. He's mechuyev to put on film. How can you say you should put it on the other hand? So,
It's definitely not a Chatziskas or Mamoshes, right?
so he says it's not a chatzitza, he holds, and he has to elamai. Elamai, you're not allowed to make a brocha in front of a picture which is not sanua.
When we cover our
But if it's
own
the picture.
Oh, so he says you have to not only b'shas the bracha, he says b'shas the tefillah. He has to have that the tefillin is on, but the rest of the place b'shas tefillah has to be covered. The rest of no, the straps is not going to cover the whole picture, but you can
Put
see
the
the picture
shirt.
between.
Put back the shirt.
So what
So he
else?
says he has to cover.
Sweater.
This is all a contemporary question because this guy, if he loves to put on film now, he's going to love to get it off his arm too.
But he has problem with his wife.
No,
How's he going to get it off?
You can get a tattoo out.
Yeah, usually they can
No,
get
you're not allowed to put on a tattoo. Why can you take off a tattoo?
It's not so simple if it's mutter to take off a tattoo.
Yeah?
It's not so simple. Well, not so simple.
But what if you have a bad image on your arm? Is it mutter then to cover it? Cover it? Make a new tattoo. Yeah, make a new tattoo just to cover the bad parts.
Also, nothing.
Wow.
That's why you see most Bala Tshuva don't take off the tattoos. You see in the mikveh, you see Bala Tshuva, you see them in shul, they're such edel, fine people.
Yeah, fine people.
Then you see them. Then you see the mikveh, or you see this guy when he puts on his tefillin. It's a shrek. It's a shrek in the vel to see his tattoo.
Yeah.
You understand why his wife doesn't let him take off his jacket.
Yeah.
So, huh? No.
Maybe it's good to remind him when he was before. That's why the tattoo is still.
Yeah.
Good to
So the
remember.
Mela, he says that definitely the chiyuv of Halacha lo isal yotcha, just which Parsha is, the chiyuv is there. Elamai, the picture, is mechuyev to cover the picture. Okay.
Rabbi, I want to say a story
Yeah.
for my sister. Refuah Shlema.
Yeah.
She was sitting in the bus 22 years ago, I think, in Eget, and she see a nice religious woman, American woman, with a book of Tehillim and saying Tehillim. And she heard from her voice, she has an accent. So she told her, Giveret, you're not allowed to say Tehillim, you're chewing gum. What? She was chewing gum and saying Tehillim. So my sister told this lady that she doesn't know, sitting next to her, you're not allowed to chew a gum, so you're saying Tehillim. Tehillim, David HaMelech wrote it down. And
It's a person.
so the lady,
Your mother beat the heel of
When you davening, you're not supposed to have anything but davening.
right, the lady has American accent and start talking, and she told her, I have a son, live in New York, and then we start talking. So my sister said, I have a brother, live in New York. They start talking. My daughter married her son from the Tehillim, from the God.
Amazing.
It's unbelievable.